Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is already April of 2025, and still to this day, the Snow White box office disaster continues to worsen over time. We know that the Walt Disney Company is in pure panic mode, including those like Bob Iger, the CEO of the company, the executives, the board of directors. They don't even know what to do anymore, that they're just giving up at this point. Everything to do with the Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot drama is also not helping at all in the least. In fact, it's only making things worse for the Disney image, for the overall Snow White box office results, and it's another reason why a lot of people avoided this movie, as, of course, apart from many other reasons out there. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, focusing on both Rachel and Gal and what's going on there to this day, there's a lot of issues going on, not just with this movie, but also the way it was marketed, the way it was promoted, and how there were so many different events that were cancelled by the Disney company. You guys may recall that the UK premiere of this film was axed by Disney, as well as the US premiere, which was dialed down, not necessarily cancelled, but dialed down, where they restricted specific questions from specific individuals, and they kept everything very limited, for obvious reasons, right? They didn't want anything to get out there when it came to the criticism. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot more to do with what Gal Gadot recently did against Rachel Zegler, and I think that this really just serves as the epitome of what the Disney company is all about when you hire someone like Rachel Zegler, who creates a lot of chaos behind the scenes, and how that really leads to the co-stars beginning to get very frustrated with the main star of the film. And this has been an ongoing issue for at least 2 years at this point, you know, not just related to the political differences between these two, but there were also moments behind the scenes on set where they had a lot of creative differences as well. Now, with the Snow White drama between both Gal and Rachel already getting more intense, especially after Disney admitted the film as a box office failure on their end, one significant development going on now involves what Gal Gadot recently did toward Rachel Zegler, both in the public eye and behind the scenes. Now, it turns out that Disney ABC producers were giving it one more chance, get this, to bring on both Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot onto their program known as The View, to create a facade, essentially, on live television, that they both had no problems with each other personally. A shocking twist of this entire development is that Disney ABC producers were instructed, of course, to have both Gal and Rachel to put aside their differences for one interview with Sunny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, and Joy Behar. Gal was reportedly being very supportive of Disney and playing ball. However, while they were both on set on The View and were ready to go on live television together just days ago, Zegler actually backed out of the deal and claimed to Disney producers that she had a change of heart, that by associating with Gal, it would ruin her reputation as an actress and her career. This is where an intense squabble took place between the two actresses, where Gal was shouting at Rachel that she specifically canceled multiple events on her own watch to make time for her appearance on The View with Rachel, and labeled Zegler as the most incompetent co-star that she has ever worked with. This was best described as the last straw for Gal, where she was trying to be the bigger person than Rachel and wanted to do the best that she could for Disney's PR team. Now, Gal reportedly canceled several interviews not associated with the Disney company, not associated with Snow White, that she had to give up to appear on The View to begin with, and grew very angry towards Zegler. Now, comments were exchanged where backstage, of course, Gal made it clear to Zegler that she will never make it in this industry and business if she acts this way, and the two actresses separated after that. Now, this essentially forced Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and Joy Behar to improvise with other talking points, since they lost those two as guests just the other day, and Disney CEO Bob Iger, along with the many other Disney executives, were reportedly outraged over Zegler's behavior. Now, Gal already warned Disney that she never wants to speak with Rachel again after this major inconvenience that she dealt with on her time. Now, guys, let me just say one thing about this real quick. Now, look, this is why I keep bringing this up. Whether you are a fan or not of Gal Gadot, whether you think she's a terrible actress or a good actress, put all of that aside. Focusing on her in isolation, I think that she was by far the most professional person for Snow White. She handled everything, you know, like a trooper. She really just tried to keep things quiet for a very long time. This is exactly why, by the way, you don't hear too much Gal, specifically, saying these ridiculous things, politically speaking, or, spewing out activism nonsense, you don't really hear too much of that coming from her. And look, I'm not being a major supporter of Gal Gadot. I think that she's just an okay actress in certain movies. This movie, in isolation, didn't really do all that well as the evil queen. I will really just put it at that. But this actual backstage inconvenience, the fact that Gal gave up a lot of events, gave up a lot of interviews, not associated with this movie or Disney, for something else entirely different, gave up her own valuable time to spend time with Rachel Zegler and to improve the Disney PR team and their overall attempt to fix the entire drama between these two. I think it's also another thing to really think about, that maybe Gal shouldn't have accepted this, because by really accepting to putting up a facade that they had no personal problems, I think that's just as bad as well, but that's just me. But focusing on this as well, this goes to show you that both Rachel and Gal, they want nothing to do with each other at this point. I mean, Gal really tried to piece the broken problems together and really tried to, create this appearance at least that they had no problems, that they just wanted to get through the press tour and get it done and over with. They wanted to use The View, which, by the way, is a big mouthpiece for the Disney company. It's a big talking piece for their overall agenda, for their ideology. There's no doubt about that. But let's move on here. Now, Disney is already beginning to support Gal greatly, since her comments were justified after Zegler's outrageous behavior backstage for ABC's The View. This is the second time, if you may recall, that Rachel was supposed to appear on The View that did not happen, and the first time that the two actresses together were supposed to appear that was cancelled. The drama between these two actresses are best described as something Disney producers have never dealt with before in the past 30 plus years, and labeled it as a PR disaster. Now, Disney data analysts are already witnessing massive numbers of customers leaving Disney Plus after the awful Snow White buzz on mainstream media. And that's another thing. The fact that this movie is so heavily embedded in mainstream media across the board, almost every other channel that you flip on, you're hearing about Snow White. That's how terrible of a movie this is, and I think it's very important to bring this up again. Let's just forget about all the agenda nonsense. Let's not even bring up DEI. Let's not even bring up Disney's ideology and message. This movie is just a terrible movie, alright? I promise you that. The acting, the directing, the writing, the producing, the cinematography, the CGI, everything about it is just abysmal, and it's exactly why it has the rating that it has on IMDb. It's right around the Dragon Ball Evolution level of, IMDb abysmal ratings. That's how bad of a movie it is. So again, this goes to show you that there's a lot of issues with this movie, not associated with Disney's agenda specifically, but just because of how bad of a film it is. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that they just focused too much on the typical agenda and not a good story. They focused too much on that DEI garbage that they really got distracted, and they couldn't create something very, worthy of the 1937 original. But anyway, I would like to hear what everyone has to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.